Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Roling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. I am your host, Leah Roling, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to listen, to learn, to reflect, to grow, because the work we do here, it's not easy work, right? It's not the surface level, check the box kind of growth, right? It's the kind of work that requires massive amount of honesty, massive amounts of curiosity and courage, right? It's the work of becoming, right? The work of mastery, the work of looking inward, right? When it would be so much easier to not, right? To look away, to look anywhere other than in, right? And so I just want to honor you for that, because you're doing the kind of inner work that few people ever choose to do, right? And that's the kind of work that changes everything. So it's the kind that builds self-trust, emotional intelligence, and real freedom. And I want to thank you and I want to honor you. So whether you're walking or driving or journaling or just sitting with me right now, I want you to know that I appreciate you and that I see you, and it matters, this work, right? It matters to the people that you love and to the world that you're leading, right? Just by showing up. So today we are going to talk about something that's, I believe, quietly shaping every part of our lives, every part of our relationships, our businesses, our leadership, our confidence, and we don't even realize it. We're talking about avoidance today. It's the silent epidemic, and I believe it's the new drug of our time. We say we're busy. We say we don't have time. But what if it's not time that we're lacking? It's tolerance. Tolerance for silence, tolerance for stillness, tolerance for truth, tolerance for boredom. Because here's what I've come to realize. Everything we do is to either feel a certain way or to avoid feeling a certain way. And freedom, the kind that I believe that you desperately deserve, begins the moment that we stop running from ourselves. So I want to start this episode with a question, okay? What are you really avoiding? Not on the surface, not the easy answers, okay? We don't do easy here on this show, but underneath the noise, underneath all the notifications and the nonstop doing, what are you actually avoiding feeling? What are you actually avoiding facing? What are you actually avoiding deciding? We live in a world of constant stimulation, constant distraction, right? We scroll through pain. We work through worry. We eat through emptiness. We shop through shame. We even help others through our own hurt. Because staying busy is easier than being honest. Helping other people with their challenges and obstacles is much easier than navigating our own. We think that distraction is harmless, but distraction is the most socially accepted drug on the planet. It's in our pockets, it's on our screens, it's in our conversations, it's in our calendars, and every hit, right? Every swipe, every scroll right? Every just one more episode is potentially a micro dose of avoidance, a way not to be here in this moment in time, a way not to be present, a way not to feel what's real. So I want to talk about the chemistry of it for just a second, because every time you refresh your feed, check that text, see a like, get a new email, get a ding from Slack or a notification from WhatsApp, right? All of them, right? Your brain releases a little burst of dopamine. It's that chemical hit that says something's happening, right? I matter. I'm not missing out. And as I was thinking and preparing for this podcast, what I realized is we're not as much addicted to our phones as we are addicted to relief. The relief that the phones bring us, relief from anxiety, relief from boredom, relief from the discomfort of our own minds, relief from the discomfort of how we feel, right? The relief from feeling that we aren't wanted in this moment, right? The scroll gives us a sense of control, right? But it's not control. None of these things are control. It's more of a chemical escape. And the more we seek that relief externally, outside of ourselves, the less capacity we have internally. We've conditioned ourselves to need that stimulation, to feel okay, to feel alive, to feel enough. But what happens when that high wears off? When the scroll ends, when the show stops, when the call is over, right? For many of us, it's the scariest place to be, because when the noise stops, we meet the truth that we've been avoiding. It doesn't go anywhere, it waits. And that's where avoidance does its best work, right? Quietly, cleverly, in disguise. So I want to show you a few of the ways that this avoidance shows up in our lives, okay? The first, avoidance of our feelings, right? We don't want to feel sadness. We don't want to feel shame. We don't want to feel bored. We don't want to feel fear. So we reach for stimulation, right? We label discomfort as a problem instead of a teacher. We resist it, buffer it at all costs instead of open up to it, embracing it, discovering what it might offer us to learn, to grow. We avoid our minds, right? We don't want to hear our thoughts. We don't want to hear all this chaos and all this clutter because they tell us the truth that we've been pretending not to know. So we fill the silence with noise, with podcasts, with reels, with TV conversations that don't mean anything. We fill ourselves with socials and TikToks and YouTubes or games on our phones, all to avoid the thoughts in our mind. Again, that could teach us something if we allowed them to have a voice. We avoid the truth, right? We say we want clarity, but clarity on the other side of that demands change, and change requires courage. And so I think we avoid knowing because once we know, we can't unknow. And then if we choose to not execute on that knowing, then it leads us down a whole spiral of self-doubt and lack of integrity and esteem and confidence. We avoid decisions, right? I believe that indecision, living in maybe, is the safest addiction. right? Because it keeps us in possibility without really any responsibility, right? As long as we're not deciding, we don't have to risk failure. We don't have to risk rejection or even success. We can just blame it on confusion. And probably the fifth area of avoiding is avoiding the after feeling, right? That feeling after an accomplishment. We avoid it. We avoid joy, right? Because joy means vulnerability, and vulnerability means risk. And risk that this feeling might not last, right? It's so fascinating to me that sometimes that moment when we have finally achieved the thing that we said that we wanted, right? We hit the number, we launched the program, we got the promotion, we crossed the finish line. And instead of fulfillment, we feel flat. So what do? We move on to the next thing, the next goal, the next project, this one will do it, right? We chase the next high because the last one didn't deliver the feeling that we thought it would. Achievement in itself then becomes its own form of distraction, a prettier, more socially acceptable kind of avoidance. We tell ourselves that we're growing, we're progressing, and we're evolving, but underneath, we're still just trying not to feel the emptiness between the milestones. Joy, real joy, isn't found in accomplishment. It's found in presence. And presence requires us to stop running, even from the good stuff. So I want to invite you to do this experiment. And I do this experiment with my clients quite frequently. For the next day, I don't want you to change anything. I don't want you to try to integrate this conversation into your behavior. I don't want you to try to be better. I just want you to notice, okay? I want you to notice when you pick up your phone, when you turn on the TV. And I want to notice where you go. What do you watch? What do you do on your phone? Do you play a game? Just be the observer. Okay? Notice when you open the fridge. Notice when you open the pantry. Notice when you start scrolling or snacking or working or watching. Just notice it all. I find myself from time to time opening up my phone and like going through all the notifications just to make sure that I haven't missed any. And then I have to ask myself, what am I avoiding right now? What is so important that could be in my Slack, that could be in my WhatsApp, that could be in my text, that could come through in an email? What is it that's so important about that? That's more important than me just being here right now? What are you avoiding? And I want you to write it down. The trigger, the action, the payoff, right? What emotion or thought came before the reach? What did you do to escape it? Right? And what did that escape give you? Okay? The trigger, the action, the payoff. The trigger, what's the thought that came before you going to your phone, you turning on your TV, you going to the fridge, going to the pantry? Just sit for a minute. What did you do to escape it? The action. And then what did that escape give you? Ask, what is it that you're looking to avoid right now? Are you looking for relief? Are you looking for distraction? Are you looking for escape? Are you looking for validation? Are you looking for mindlessness? Awareness, this level of awareness isn't about guilt. It's about interruption. It's about interrupting that pattern. Because we can't shift what we refuse to see. So we just observe. And you might be surprised to see how much of your life is being directed not by your desires, not by your any level of intentionality, right? But by your avoidance, by just mere randomness, right? And once you start noticing it, here's your next step, okay? I want to give you 3 next steps that I think might help you, just micro shifts, become more intentional about the power of this now moment, the power of this now opportunity to tap in to the intuitive nature, into what it is that your thoughts, the decisions, your feelings, your accomplishments want you to know. Want you to know. I believe that your next level of becoming, your next level of capacity and growth comes in that intersection of listening, of not being distracted by the noise, but rather inviting that noise in and asking what it wants you to know. So, micro commitment number 1 is the pause. This pause is so, so powerful. It's one of the first things that I teach, right? Before you pick up your phone, before you turn on the TV, before you open up the fridge, before you open up the pantry, before you look at your emails, okay? Just take one full breath and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Is this productive? Is this creating connection or escape? Okay. You'll start to build emotional tolerance in seconds. You'll begin to realize how many of your impulses are simply just invitations to feel, just simply invitations for you to pay attention to yourself. That's one. Just pause. Just give yourself a beat between how you're thinking and how you're feeling and what you do, and create a level of consciousness and intention around it. Okay. Micro commitment number 2, the single task test. Okay. For 1 hour. And maybe if 1 hour is just too big for your mind, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I want you to do only one thing. No multitasking, no toggling, no numbing, right? Do one thing completely and see what happens to your focus. See what happens to your mood. See what happens to your sense of meaning. That level of intention, that level of presence, that level of intention amplifies meaning. It amplifies that level of commitment and connection to you and to your life. And that level of presence, it produces the one thing that I believe that we're all after. And that's peace. That's peace. And it matters because you deserve it and your family deserves it. And the people around you want you leading in peace and not panic. And the last micro commitment is kind of what I'm going to call the connection reclaim. Okay. I want you to reach out to one person. If you've been on this podcast with me for a while, you know that I have a habit now of reaching out to 3 people every single day, just connecting with them. No agenda, right? No catch up expectation, just connection. Just a voice note, a heart high, a message, a call, right? That just says, hey, I've been thinking about you. Hey, you've been on my mind. Hey, I just wanted to send you some love and some hugs. If you're an emoji person like I am, send emojis, right? You will feel the difference instantly because connection, not consumption, is what creates dopamine that lasts. Consumption, quick, easy hit, but it's not sustainable. It doesn't last. Connection, sustaining, long lasting, right? Each of these micro commitments are kind of a test. Okay. Is the discomfort of presence worth the peace on the other side? Because that's the question that you're negotiating with yourself every time you choose distraction and avoidance over presence. What I've come to notice is it always is. Sitting in stillness, sitting in the discomfort, allowing my thoughts to occupy my mind and not reacting from them, allowing myself to feel and inviting those feelings to share a message with me. Sitting in that is always worth it. It's always worth it. The peace on the other side of that stillness, of that presence, is unmatched. There's no scroll, there's no Netflix, there's no cookie, there's no ice cream, not even my favorite, that creates that feeling of peace. Ever. I think sometimes we think that even though avoidance promises comfort, it delivers emptiness. And we think that we're protecting ourselves from pain, but we're not. We're protecting ourselves from the growth that we deserve, that door, that capacity. Every time that you face what you've been avoiding, a thought, a feeling, a truth, a decision, a celebration of accomplishment, right? You build the evidence that you can handle it. That's how emotional maturity is built. That is how leadership is forged. That is how you become you. Because life isn't asking you to do more. My gosh, we've done enough. Doing more is not required, especially if you're a high achiever, over-accomplisher, listener that you probably are. If doing, right, worked, if doing was the answer for peace, we would have it. Life isn't asking you to do more. It's asking you to feel more, to stay, to breathe, to notice, to choose presence right now over avoidance, over protection. When you stop avoiding yourself, you stop abandoning yourself. And that is when freedom begins. You are amazing. You are awesome. I want you to believe that in order to connect with that, in order to pay attention to you, pay attention to the thoughts, pay attention to your feelings, pay attention to your decisions, pay attention to your future, pay attention to what it is that you want for your life. You deserve it, and so do the people that look to you as a role model, because this is what I know for sure. If you're the one that's listening to this, you are probably the role model for many, many people in your life, because you are taking the time to make personal improvement and self-mastery a way of life by tuning into this podcast and not tuning out to what other people are doing. I want you to allow yourself to be with yourself and not labeling it selfish, not labeling it as socially inappropriate, weird. It's not weird. What would be weird is to not, right? You deserve this level of freedom. You deserve this moment to connect with you. So take a beat, whether it's the pause, right? Whether it's the single task, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, See what the capacity is for your presence in a moment, one project at a time, one task item at a time. And or connect with people. I promise you, if every time you went to your phone, if that invitation wasn't to connect in a meaningful way, switch it right there. Connect, send a text. My challenge for you is one of these commitments, one of them. And if you have found they've worked for you, DM me, tag me, find me on social media. Let me know which one of these invited you back into your life. Because the life that you want to live is buried underneath everything that you distract in it. It's the clutter of all clutters, and I do believe it is the drug of this time. If this episode spoke to you at all, right? Take your 24-hour awareness audit, be the observer, right? Share what you discover. DM me and share it with somebody else. I just feel like there's so much power in stopping the avoiding nature, stopping the numbing, and inviting ourselves into the potential, right? One honest moment at a time. You deserve that. The world deserves that. And I hope that you will choose that. Have just a beautiful day, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you next time. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrolingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.